You drink coffee for energy. You scroll social media to relax. But you still feel tired. Why? Because your brain battery is dead. You don't need more stimulation. You need a hard reset. Neuroscience has found a cheat code, just 10 minutes a day, that recharges you faster than sleep. It's called NSDR. Today, I will show you how doing this once a day fixes your focus instantly. The trap, the low battery reality. Why you feel exhausted even after resting. Rest often doesn't recharge the brain battery the way you expect. The quick dopamine hits from scrolling keep the system wired, so true restoration never lands. You feel heavy, foggy, and briefly more tired after a so-called rest than you did before. That's the low battery reality in action. The brain treating rest like a tease, not a recharge. NSDR, or non-sleep deep rest, is a system reboot for your nervous system. It isn't sleep, but it can tap into some of sleep's restorative vibes in a tight, predictable window. Instead of chasing cheap energy from the next notification, NSDR helps the brain battery reset by dialing down the spin of the nervous system and giving the mind a structured chance to settle. Real energy returns in a calmer, steadier way, not in a spike of new stimuli. When you do a system reboot, the brain's energy budget shifts from constant alertness toward a balanced, more efficient state. To try a 10-minute NSDR session right now, find a quiet spot where you won't be interrupted. Lie down, close your eyes, and let the body soften. If you have a guided NSDR track, press play and follow it. If not, keep it simple with breath and a body scan. Begin with a gentle breathing rhythm. Inhale through the nose, exhale slowly, and tilt your attention toward each part of the body, starting at the toes and moving up to the scalp. When a thought or feeling pops in, label it briefly and return to the breath or the body scan. Stay with the process for the full 10 minutes, then rest with eyes closed for a minute or two before rising. The goal isn't perfect stillness but a predictable pause that lowers the brain's reactivity. If you've been living in the cheap energy loop of endless scrolling, you'll notice the difference after one system reboot. The urge to reach for the next scroll relaxes a little, and fog clears from the thinking process. Energy feels more like a steady glow than a spark that burns out. You might also find it easier to start a task that's been stalled, not because you suddenly feel heroic, but because your brain isn't fighting itself as hard. Integrate this into your day by slotting a 10-minute NSDR after lunch or during a mid-afternoon slump. It's a tiny commitment with a potential payoff that compounds over time. The science: cheap versus real dopamine. Why coffee and TikTok give you a spike, then a crash. Two kinds of energy drive your motivation: cheap energy and real energy. Cheap energy shows up as quick dopamine spikes from small, highly stimulating hits like a coffee buzz or a social scroll. Real energy grows from real rest and balanced brain chemistry. Cheap energy is fast and flashy, but it doesn't build lasting momentum. Real energy is slower, more resilient, and it comes from a system reboot that steadies your brain battery. Coffee and TikTok spike your dopamine quickly. Caffeine blocks adenosine, the sleepy chemical, so you feel awake, and it nudges dopamine signaling in the brain battery, giving you a sharper sense of focus in the moment. TikTok is built on intermittent rewards, new videos, likes, comments, each a microburst of novelty that lands as cheap energy. The result is a bright moment followed by a crash, a dip in mood, and a pull to chase the next hit. Tolerance builds, too, so the high doesn't last as long, and the craving for more becomes louder. NSDR isn't a buzz, it's a system reboot. It's a guided 10-minute relaxation designed to calm the nervous system, shift into parasympathetic mode, and quiet the brain battery's chatter. Slow, steady breathing and a gentle body scan help restore balance, dissolve lingering tension, and make space for real energy to return. With practice, these sessions can smooth out the ups and downs that come from cheap dopamine spikes, and they can recalibrate motivation so everyday work feels more doable. The idea is simple: give the system a pause, and the brain can recharge its baseline in a kinder, steadier way. Try this today and feel the shift. Find a quiet spot, lie down or sit comfortably, and set a timer for 10 minutes. Breathe slowly. In for 4, out for 6. Do a gentle body scan from toes to head, letting each area soften as you notice it. If thoughts pop up, just acknowledge them and return to the breath. After the scan, linger with a calm visualization or a simple intention for the next task that actually matters. When the timer ends, stretch a little, wiggle your fingers and toes, and open your eyes slowly. You'll notice a gentler energy that doesn't burn out as quickly. This system reboot is the kind of practice that makes real energy feel accessible, so you can tackle tasks with steady focus rather than relying on quick spikes. The hack, the NSDR protocol, the tool used by Google CEO to reset his brain in 10 minutes. NSDR, short for non-sleep deep rest, is a quick system reboot for the brain. In practice, you lie down, listen to a guided script or your own calm narration, and ride a 10-minute wave from tension to rest. Think of your brain battery: cheap energy, snappy dopamine hits from scrolling, snacks, or easy wins, versus real energy, the steadier fuel that keeps you focused. NSDR is designed to tilt you from cheap energy toward real energy, so you wake with a clearer mind and steadier motivation. In some circles, it's described as the tool used by a well-known tech leader to reset his brain in about 10 minutes. Prepare a quiet spot, dim light, nothing that distracts. Lie flat on your back with arms at your sides or resting on your belly. Close your eyes and set a timer for 10 minutes. Use a guided NSDR script or simply a soft, spoken countdown. If you have a guide, follow a body scan. Start at the toes and move up through the legs, hips, torso, arms, neck, face, pausing to release any held tension. Use breathing that feels natural, with an exhale slightly longer than the inhale. Let the feet sink, shoulders soften, jaw unclench. If thoughts pop up, acknowledge them briefly and return to the breath and body focus. The goal is not to fall asleep, but to enter a relaxed, conscious rest state that the body recognizes as a reset. Why does this reset help your dopamine system? The brain is crowded with signals and urges that keep you chasing quick wins. By dropping into the calm of NSDR, the brain battery gets a chance to recharge. The noise lessens, and impulses to chase cheap energy weaken just enough to feel more capable of choosing tasks with longer payoff. After the 10 minutes, you may notice you don't reach for the phone as quickly, or that your next task feels more approachable. People report a crisper sense of motivation and a calmer mood, not a crash after a sugar high. You can compare it to rebooting a device. The screen wakes up faster, the fan quiets, and you feel more in control. To make it stick, try a daily 10-minute NSDR right after lunch or first thing in the morning. If your day is busy, use it as a boundary before you dive into work, not after you've already spun your wheels. Have a small cue, a dim lamp, a soft pillow, a timer on your phone. You can do it with or without a guided recording. Some prefer a 10-minute yoga Nidra script, others a custom mental narration. Use it as a system reboot. You're not aiming for sleep. You are resetting the system so the next hour runs with more focus. If you want to track progress, jot one line about how your energy felt before and after, or note a single task you accomplished with less resistance. That's the practical core, a simple 10 minutes that pays off in the hours that follow. The mechanism: slowing down to speed up. How calming your brain waves recharges your motivation tank. Brain activity hums and rhythms, and when you're sprinting through tasks, the mind mostly runs on fast beta waves. Calm, steady moments shift you toward calmer alpha waves and sometimes even a touch of theta. NSDR, described here as a system reboot, is a short, guided rest meant to nudge that shift on purpose. The end result is a calmer brain that can recharge its energy, not drain it with non-stop noise. The mechanism behind it is simple in concept. Slowing down now speeds up your momentum later. Think in terms of cheap energy versus real energy. Cheap energy is the quick dopamine hit from a ping, a scroll, a snack, or a snappy joke that gives a momentary spark but drains your brain battery over time. Real energy comes from genuine rest that rebuilds the brain's capacity to feel curiosity and to invest effort again. When you slow your brainwaves, you reduce the constant push to chase quick fixes and give the brain a chance to reset its voltage. The brain battery, the real energy reservoir for motivation, parks at a higher level after this break, not a lower one. You'll notice you need fewer random hits to feel ready for the next task. You'll also feel less stiffness in starting something new. NSDR is best thought of as a system reboot for your day. A focused 10-minute routine can flip the script from a noisy, busy state to a clear, inviting one. Start by settling into a comfortable position and letting shoulders drop. Breathe slowly and evenly. Inhale to 4, exhale to 6. Let the belly rise with the inhale and soften with the exhale. You're guiding the brain toward alpha, a calmer, awake state. Then move into a gentle body scan. Notice any tension in the jaw, neck, shoulders, chest, and hips, and release it with each exhale. Finish with a light visualization. Picture a dimming screen inside your head that gradually brightens as you re-engage with a simple goal, something small you can start in the next 10 minutes. The whole process takes about 10 minutes and it doesn't require you to be spiritual or special, just consistent practice. When you finish, you don't magically feel like a superhero. Instead, you notice a real difference in how you experience motivation. The urge for quick fixes fades, and you notice a steadier, more reliable spark to begin tasks. Your focus becomes less about chasing the next buzz and more about building something you can finish. You'll probably reach for a small, meaningful task first, and that tiny win compounds into real momentum. If you try this today, you'll have a live test you can compare tomorrow. Is it easier to start a task, or did you still need a few quick hits to push through? The answer tends to be clearer after a system reboot. The instruction: how to do it. Lie down, close eyes, body scan. Non-sleep deep rest, or NSDR, is a simple system reboot for your nervous system that aims to reset the way your brain handles energy. It helps rebalance dopamine by stepping away from constant cheap energy hits, texts, notifications, quick bursts, and giving your brain a chance to reset towards steadier, more durable energy. Think of your brain battery getting a proper recharge when you stop chasing the next ping and instead sit in quiet, unhurried rest. It's a small practice, but the effects can feel surprisingly fresh and clear. To do it, lie down and let your body soften into the surface beneath you. Close your eyes to cut off external input and invite a calm that isn't forced. Start with a body scan. Notice your toes and feet, then move up through the legs, hips, belly, chest, shoulders, arms, neck, and face. As you pass each area, check for tension and invite it to melt away with the exhale. This isn't about judging what you find. It's about noticing and letting go, little by little, like defragmenting a computer brain so it can work more smoothly. The idea is simple. Awareness plus release equals brighter, cleaner energy. Keep the breath steady and comfortable. Inhale softly through the nose, exhale a touch longer, and let the rhythm slow you down without forcing anything. If thoughts wander, simply acknowledge them and return your attention to the body and the breath. The scan can feel almost tactile, a cool air on the skin, a deeper sense of weight in the muscles, a gentle drop in heart rate as tension dissolves. This act is the NSDR system reboot working behind the scenes, smoothing the ride between cheap energy spikes and real energy that powers steady focus and calmer moods. You're not aiming for a miracle. You're giving the brain a chance to reset the signals that drive motivation and craving. Aim for about 10 minutes of this, though you can start with less and build up. A simple rhythm is 2 minutes to settle, 6 to 8 minutes for the full body scan, and 2 minutes to drift back into wakefulness. If you hit a moment of restlessness, stay with the breath and the body scan for a little longer, and let the motion of the exhale carry you forward. You can do this on a couch, a bed, or a quiet floor mat, anywhere that feels comfortable and safe. It's practical, accessible, and the kind of habit you can slip into daily without special tools or setting up a ritual. Over time, you may notice less impulse to chase the next quick hit, more stamina for tasks, and a gentler baseline of mood. Give it a try today, and treat the 10 minutes as a small investment with the potential for a surprisingly clear return. The timing: the afternoon crash fix. Do this between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. instead of grabbing a coffee. The afternoon crash is real for many people, with energy dipping between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Coffee can tempt, but it often leaves jittery edges or a sharper dip later. Instead, try a 10-minute NSDR session, a system reboot for your nervous system. NSDR is a short, guided relaxation that helps calm the brain battery and reset your dopamine balance. Cheap energy, like a quick caffeine spike, fades fast. Real energy comes from a deeper reset that steadies your mood and focus. So this is your afternoon fix, done in the 2 to 4 p.m. window to rebalance without crashing later. Here's how to do it. Find a quiet spot where you can lie down or sit with your back supported. Keep the room dim or softly lit, and turn your phone off or on Do Not Disturb. Close your eyes and release the tension around your shoulders and jaw. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Inhale for 4 counts, then exhale for 6. Let the breath smooth out your tempo and quiet the noise in your head. Do a gentle body scan from toes to crown, relaxing each muscle as you notice it. When a thought drifts in, label it briefly and return your focus to the sensation of breathing. At the end, take a slow, easy stretch and sit up gradually to rejoin the day. After you finish, you'll notice a steadier energy rather than a rush and crash pattern. Your mood tends to feel more even, and tasks that once felt heavy can seem a bit more approachable. This isn't an instant magic trick. The benefits build with consistency. The goal is to shift from chasing cheap energy to inviting real energy by giving your brain a proper reset. Some people notice clearer thinking and better task flow in the hours that follow. If you usually crash around mid-afternoon, NSDR can blunt the dip and reduce the compulsion for another caffeine spike. Make it a daily habit. Set a 2 p.m. alarm named NSDR so the cue shows up exactly when the slump tends to hit. Do the session in the same quiet space to strengthen the routine. You can do it seated if lying down isn't possible, as long as your back is supported and you're comfortable. Use a soft, pleasant timer chime or a gentle voice guide to mark the 10 minutes. Pair the practice with a tiny ritual, a warm drink, a familiar chair, or a favorite phrase you repeat as you settle in. Track how you feel after each session. Note steadier energy, fewer cravings for caffeine, or a smoother transition into tasks. The aim is simple. Try this today and let your brain experience a system reboot that turns the afternoon crash into a moment of renewed clarity. The result? The limitless effect. Waking up with a clear mind and renewed focus. A 10-minute NSDR session acts as a system reboot for your brain, cooling the overload that comes from constant alerts and hurry. In plain terms, it shifts you from cheap energy, those quick hits of stimulation that spike and crash, to real energy, the steadier, sustainable focus that actually sticks. Your brain battery recharges during this quiet window, and the fog tends to lift. During the moment of quiet, your body settles, breathing deepens, and thoughts align rather than scatter. That reset shows up as what many people describe as a limitless effect. You wake with a clear mind and renewed focus. Morning decisions feel sharper, your tasks start to unfold with less resistance, and distractions lose their grip. Because dopamine signals calm, there's less drift between big goals and tiny daily choices. You still have energy to tackle the day, but it arrives smoothly, not as a rush. To pull this off today, find a quiet space and a few minutes. 10 is enough. Lie down comfortably, close your eyes, and set a timer for 10 minutes. If you have a guided NSDR track, press play. If not, use a simple breath and body scan. Inhale through the nose to fill the belly, exhale slowly, letting shoulders drop. Do a calm body scan from toes to crown, noting any tension and guiding it to release with the exhale. If thoughts pop up, acknowledge them briefly and return to the breath. Finish with a quick anchor phrase like reset and go, and sit for a breath or two before you rise. Afterward, drink a glass of water, step outside for a minute, and write one specific intention for the morning. This is the system reboot in action. Your brain battery gets a recharge, and cheap energy flows into real energy. Try it today and see how the limit dissolves into momentum. 10 minutes before you dive into apps or messages, give this a real shot. Pair the reset with a touch of sunlight and hydration to maximize the effect. Notice how your first task feels easier, how focus holds longer, and how the initial energy feels more like a river than a sprint. That small daily habit can compound, turning mornings from foggy starts into crisp, purposeful energy. You've got a simple tool that can change how your day begins. Stop pushing a tired brain. Reboot it. Fatigue crowds the brain and dulls focus, draining the brain battery. When the mind is tired, cheap energy from quick hits tends to dominate, while steady work and calm thinking become harder to access. NSDR, framed as a system reboot, helps shift from cheap energy toward real energy by quieting noise and giving the brain time to reset its signaling. Start with a quiet space and a timer set for 10 minutes. Lie down or sit comfortably, letting the body settle without slouching. Breathe slowly, using your diaphragm. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6. Do a gentle body scan from your toes up to your head, softening and releasing tension as you go. When thoughts pop in, acknowledge them briefly and return your attention to the breath. Close the eyes if you can, and imagine a soft, cool light washing over the brain battery, nudging it from crowded to clear. In practical terms, this is a pause that reframes how your brain handles the next tasks. After a long meeting or a dense block of work, NSDR acts like a fresh restart button, reducing the tug toward instant dopamine hits and inviting a steadier, more durable form of energy. You may notice less urge to reach for your phone, fewer intrusive thoughts, and a quicker rise back to a productive pace. People often report calmer nerves, smoother transitions between tasks, and a clearer sense of what matters next. Try it today by placing a 10-minute system reboot into your routine. If you can, drop one mid-afternoon and another after a high-focus morning, catching the dip before it drags you down. No special equipment needed, just a quiet corner and a timer. The goal is simple: give your brain a genuine reset, so the brain battery rebalances toward real energy rather than chasing cheap dopamine. Give it a go now and see what shifts in the next task you tackle. Here's the quick wrap-up you can use right now. The one daily habit that can rebalance your dopamine is NSDR, a simple 10-minute system reboot for your brain. Think of dopamine as cheap energy versus real energy. When you binge quick hits, scrolling, sugar, caffeine, you burn through cheap energy and your brain battery feels stretched. NSDR recharges that battery, giving you more steady motivation and clearer focus. Key points in one breath. Do a 10-minute NSDR every day to reboot your system. It shifts you from cheap energy to real energy, which smooths out those dopamine swings. You'll feel calmer, more present, and a bit more motivated without extra stress. And it's easy to start today, no special gear needed. If you felt pulled into the endless loop of quick hits, this is a tiny, practical reset you can actually do. So here's the action. Find a quiet spot, lie down, shoulders relaxed, eyes closed, and set a timer for 10 minutes. Breathe slowly, do a gentle body scan from head to toe, release tension as you go, and just let your brain go through its system reboot. Do this today and notice how your energy starts to settle and your next move feels more intentional. If you try it, tell me how it goes in the comments, what you felt during and after, and where your energy landed afterward. I'll read every note. And if you want more brain hacks like this, I've got you. Next videos will explore stacking NSDR with your daily routine, tailoring the 10-minute reset for different days, and more simple shifts that turn real energy into your everyday fuel. Thanks for sticking with me. Give the 10-minute system reboot a shot today, and I'll see you in the next video with more practical brain tips.